The number one feature that stands out in Celeste is the care and attention to detail that the developers put in this game. It's present in every single aspect of it. From the game's approach to teaching that helps the player get comfortable to the controls while pushing new challenges, to its accessibility settings that allow you to turn on color sensitivity filters or fully remap the controls, the game is impeccable. But for me, this story is where you can really see how well Extremely OK Games does this. Celeste tackles the subject of mental health, a very hard topic to talk about, in a way so authentic and genuine that it only could have been written by actual people who felt those emotions themselves. It's not those soulless discussions that want to cater to an audience to get a reaction from you. The dialogues aren't forced, on the contrary, they flow incredibly well, and players can easily tell the difference and become invested in these characters and see some of themselves in their struggles in Madeline, our main protagonist, and also Theo, who helps a lot in building these conversations. People often assume that there must be something terribly wrong in your life to have a valid mental health issue. Your job must be terrible, your relationship must be awful, or at least you're being bullied in school. But more often than not, we all face internal issues that impact our daily lives, which is something I love that Celeste brings up. Madeline loves her job, she has no problems with it. She has a good relationship with her family, but she needs a change of heart from how she views herself and how she interacts with others. And that's totally okay. The game never downplays this, and it sends a great message for everyone that relates to these feelings, like I did and so many others do. And the way the game represents these issues is equally important. Whenever media tries to portray mental problems or evil, they often resort to making them horrific. Characters suddenly look ugly or distorted, which is a huge mistake we kinda got used to seeing over the years. And while Celeste does make use of a few light scares, the game never crosses that line into horror, paying close attention to characters' portrayals and designs. We can see this in Mr. Oshiro's character. In his level, we see that Oshiro is pretty unstable, and he's about to explode any second now. You keep progressing and there's a slight discomfort in the air, and you just have to wait until he snaps. But when this moment finally comes, it's a bit scary, but look at his angry form. He's just a grumpy marshmallow. It's kinda cute even. The gameplay also takes caution not to become a horror game, since Oshiro does chase you, but once again it's pretty lighthearted and it flows the same way as a platforming and other levels. We can also see this on part of Madeline's character, which is a physical manifestation of her insecure and cautious side. While she makes the classic use of dark colors seemingly representing evil, she is the same as Madeline, and when confronted, she never distorts into anything creepy or horrific, and she's not a bad person in any way. This care that Celeste has is also shown in the gameplay. Each chapter in the game has its own set of elements, making them all self-contained. Chapter 1 has these traffic lights, for example, that once you get on top of them, they move by themselves. Chapter 4, however, has these stupid clouds that push you slightly up if you stand still, or launch you way up if you jump with the right timing, while also introducing winds and these green orbs that are like an extra dash. Sometimes games get carried away by introducing too many mechanics at once when you're not even used to the basics yet, and that's super frustrating. Like, give me a little break, I barely know how to jump, dude. And while Celeste keeps throwing more ideas at you, this is never overwhelming for the player. Not only are they spread out super well, but chapters being self-contained allow players to just forget a little bit about previous mechanics and just focus on learning the new stuff coming their way. Every chapter gives out a seamless tutorial where you understand how every single object works and all their interactions with each other. So even if you're not quite confident in your abilities to use, say, the traffic lights, that won't get in your way for the next level. My favorite way to play this game was to do the B-sides right after the main level. You see, B-sides are these harder versions of the levels that are still self-contained just like their original counterparts. So the A-sides gave me the story and got me used to the movements, and while they were still fresh in my memory, I went for the B-sides to push my abilities even more, allowing me to improve my gameplay. The only downside to this was that the story became even more spread out, which was a shame because, like I said, I really liked the main story. I even thought maybe the B-sides should have been unlocked after you beat the campaign so players would have a more cohesive experience, but I get that this way gives players more freedom. The only problem I had with Celeste was Chapter 9, which came from a DLC. This level is just drastically different from the rest of the game, mainly in gameplay and presentation. For starters, Chapter 9 is much longer than any of the other chapters. Each chapter took 2 to 3 hours to beat their A-sides, but I spent 16 hours on Chapter 9 alone. 16 hours just playing. And even when you combine the total hours of the B and C sides from the other levels, they don't come close to 16 hours. It just felt endless. I had to play it through 5 sessions to beat it, and it was really frustrating. The gameplay also starts to require some more precise techniques that the rest of the game doesn't require. They even bust out an ironic PowerPoint presentation to teach you the wave dash technique, and while it was pretty funny to be honest, it was still a huge departure from the simplicity of all the other chapters to require a full-blown explanation. I had to change from keyboard controls to a controller to get it done, and it took some time readjusting, which wasn't very comfortable. This chapter plays a lot with the theme of not letting go, of pushing yourself too far and not accepting an end to things. And I get that the gameplay symbolizes this, as Madeline is going too far because she's not coming to terms with reality, and the level stretching out forever showcases this well. The story works great and I enjoyed it a lot, but Celeste loses that care and attention it had for the player when it does this. The gameplay itself became uncomfortable, and it was tiring and unnecessarily long. I felt burned out on the game after I beat Chapter 9, and I didn't want to play it much more after that because of this. Now, I'm not saying games can't be hard. Celeste is a hard game and I loved being challenged more and more by it. But that was extra content. B-sides and C-sides are optional, they don't lock you out from learning the story. But this is what happens in Chapter 9. It felt like they crammed the A-side together with the B and C sides to make one giant chapter, which makes extra sense when you look at how wave dashing is introduced in the middle of the level. I felt like it would have been better if Chapter 9 was separated into 2 or even 3 parts to keep the consistency from the rest of the game. Even though Chapter 9 had this problem, I still enjoyed Celeste so much. It's one of the most original platform games I've played, and it keeps pushing new, fresh ideas. Whenever the game introduced a new mechanic or taught me something new, I just had this huge smile on my face, and I gotta say I smiled a lot while I was playing it. If you haven't played it yet, you should definitely give it a chance, as I'm sure you'll love it. It may have seemed scary with all that DLC talk, and even watching the gameplay of the later levels can feel intimidating. I felt that way about Celeste before I played it, but there's really nothing to worry about. The game takes its time teaching you everything, and there's all sorts of different challenges for different players. You can focus on the main story while playing all those different levels, and you can also play insane challenges that require you to beat the whole level without dying once. The key aspect is your freedom to choose which optional content you want to do, and there's lots of them. And of course, everything made full of care and attention by Maddie herself and all the folks at Extremely OK Games. And that was it for my Celeste review. Thank you very much for watching, your support helps out so much. I'm sure you know the drill, but please consider leaving the video with a like, a comment, and or subscribing. There's also some links in the description for my other platforms. I have an Instagram page where I post regularly, I also live stream on Twitch, and there's some other stuff down there too. Falou e até mais!